Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Tech Gamers World. In this video, we're going to be unboxing the Surface Pro 9 from Microsoft. Now I am super excited to get my hands on one of these. I used to have a Surface Pro 7 that recently suffered what we call a catastrophic hardware failure that could not be fixed. So, went ahead and got a Surface Pro 9. So let's talk a little bit about the Surface Pro 9 before we get to the unboxing. The Surface Pro 9 is a couple of generations old, but it is a really good general use tablet from Microsoft. It features Intel i5 or i7 processors in a 64-bit configuration. So you know it'll work with all of your line of business and personal use applications. The newer Microsoft Surface devices, the 10 and higher, support AI, which is really cool, but it does come with a trade-off. The processors in it are different than the typical 10th, 11th, 12th generation i5, i7 processors that we're used to. So if you get the Snapdragon processor or any of the others, the ARM-based processors, some applications won't run on them. Now, for personal or professional use, that could be a problem because if the application doesn't run, what are you going to do with the device if that's the primary use of the device? So that's why I like the Surface Pro 9s, because you know you're guaranteed to get that application compatibility. Now, the Surface Pro 9 was released in 2022, but it will be fully supported up until 2028. And with the average use of a tablet and life being the average of 4 to 6 years, that fits right in the timeline of when the device would need to be replaced anyway. So with that said, let's go ahead and unbox the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. Before I do that, if you could click that like button and subscribe to Tech Gamers World, that would be totally awesome. I'm always going to have new and exciting content from the world of video games, technology, and travel dropping all the time. So let's get to it. So like I said, this is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. You'll notice that it is in nondescript cardboard packaging. When I order stuff, I typically like to get it in the more environmentally friendly packaging, nothing wrapped in plastic, nothing like that, because honestly, it just goes in the garbage. Anyway, and if I can help keep some stuff out of the landfill, I am all for it. So let's open this up. All right, so let's open her up here. So here is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. Go ahead here and start by taking it out. As you can see, it comes wrapped in a paper-like material to keep it safe. Again, this is environmentally friendly packaging, so there's really no plastic. Let's go ahead and see what this is here. So this is some information about the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. Basically showing you what the stuff is on the Surface, which we will get into. Here is safety and regulatory information and a piece of cardboard. Here is the charger. You can tell by the charging icon. Here is the cable for the wall outlet and to the power supply. And here is the power supply itself. You can see where the cable plugs in. Here's the out, which goes to their proprietary Surface port for charging. And you can see there is an additional USB-A port right here on the side. So that is good to have because that allows you to charge external devices through the Surface power supply. Let's just see if there's anything else underneath the bottom here. There is not. So we'll go ahead and move this out of the way. And we'll get to the excitement of the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. So let's go ahead and put down a trusty thing here to lay this on. And we'll go ahead here and open up, pull this out, and lay it down right here. Okay, so let's get rid of our garbage here. So here is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. And you might see me a bunch of times in this video. So it is very sleek looking, very slim, which I love. The screen comes mostly all the way, almost to the sides. Looks like about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch in on each side, and maybe about 1/2 inch on the top or bottom, obviously to make room for electronic devices such as the camera and the Face ID and the charging ports on the bottom here. So let's talk about the specs real quick here for the Surface Pro. So this is the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. This is the non-5G version, so non-cellular version. The length of this is 11.3 inches. The width is 8.2 inches, so length, width. The height is 0.37 inches, and the weight is 1.94 pounds. So that is really lightweight for a tablet. I love that. Now, comparatively, the Surface Pro 9 with the 5G add-on is the same exact specs, except it only weighs 0.2 ounces bigger. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk a little bit here about the memory and storage and the processor. So we'll start with my favorite, which is the processor. So the Surface Pro 9s come with 2 processor types. It comes with both 12th generation Intel Core i5s or i7s. The i5 and the i7 are basically the same processor, just different speeds. Really what you need to know. i7 is more performance based, while i5 is more general use based. An i5 will typically get better battery life than an i7 because i7 typically works harder. Now, if you get the Surface Pro 9 with 5G, there are only one real processor type. That's the Microsoft SQ3 processor and with the neural processing unit. So I'm not going to go into the super crazy details about the processors in this video, but just need to know that if you get the non-cellular version, you're going to have a choice between an i5 or an i7. And you need to evaluate what makes the most sense based on your use case. For me, an i7, because of professional and personal use, makes the most sense. So, memory. The Surface Pro 9 comes with a couple different memory configurations. The Surface Pro 9 without cellular comes with 3 choices for memory: 8 gigs, 16 gigs, or 32 gigs of RAM, otherwise known as memory. The Surface Pro 9 with 5G comes with only 2 choices, 8 gigs or 16 gigs. Now for storage, there are 4 choices or 3 choices depending on which configuration you get. The Surface Pro 9 with the non-cellular, which is what this is, has 4 storage options: 128 gig, 256 gig, 512 gig, and 1 terabyte of space. The Surface Pro 9 with 5G only has 128 gig, 256 gig, or 512 gig SSD options. So I went with the 512 gig storage, the 16 gigs of RAM, and the i7 processor. Now here's why I didn't go with a 1 terabyte storage. I don't need that much storage. The majority of work that is done is kept in the cloud, so storage is not so much of an issue. And if I wanted to get an i7 with 32 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte storage, which is the only configuration you can get that high, the cost was significant. Unfortunately, Microsoft didn't make a i7 with 32 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD. They only made an i7 32 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte. You didn't have the ability to customize the 1 terabyte storage, unfortunately, because I would have gotten i7 32 gigs of RAM, 512 gig SSD. So it is what it is. An i7 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD is exactly what I need in a tablet that will last me for years to come. Now let's talk about the display for a minute here. So this is, again, the Surface Pro 9 cellular version, non-cellular version. So the screen is a 13-inch PixelSense Flow display with a resolution of 2880 by 1920, 267 ppi. The color profile is sRGB, vivid refresh rate up to 120 Hertz, which is really nice. And it supports dynamic refresh rate. So the aspect ratio is 3:2. The contrast ratio is 1200:1. It has adaptive color, auto color management, touchscreen, so it's 10-point multi-touch. Dolby Vision IQ support. This has Gorilla Glass 5, which is really nice. And the brightness is 450 nits maximum, typical, or 2 nits minimum. So this gets really bright, which if you're working in the sun or in a brightly lit area, you can jack the brightness up considerably, or dim it if you're in a really dark area. Now, there are I don't think there's any differences between the cellular version and the non-cellular version for the screen. I think it's just the color profile has less of a refresh rate on the screen. And I'm just looking at the specs here. Auto color management not there, and everything else is pretty much the same. The Vision IQ is not there on the cellular version, but that's okay. So let's talk battery. So obviously these again have an embedded lithium-ion battery. It is literally glued down inside here. And the battery life on the Surface Pro 9 in an ideal, typical device usage scenario is about 15.5 hours on the Surface Pro 9 non-cellular. The Surface Pro 9 with 5G is up to 19 hours of typical device usage because it has a different processor that pulls less power. So that's why you see there's about a 3.5 hour difference. The graphics on the Surface Pro 9s are the Intel Iris Xe graphics for the non-cellular version, and the Surface Pro 9 with 5G is the Microsoft SQ3 Adreno 8CX Gen 3 graphics. So basically, why are there two different ones? It's all about the processor. These don't really have video cards. The processor is also the GPU. So the processor does the graphics processing. So when you have a different processor, you're gonna have a different type of video graphics processing solution. So that's why that is. Security, all pretty standard. TPM, enterprise grade production with the Microsoft Hello, Windows 11 secured core. The same thing with the cellular version, except it's not BitLocker supported, it's Microsoft Pluton, which is more of a different kind of security, but it also features the Windows Hello and the secured core. So it's almost the same. The Pluton is a little bit different. So if you're a IT admin, you need to keep that in mind when you're, doing security on these guys. So talking ports now, let's see what this has here. It's a little bit hard to see because it's the case itself is so dark here. Let me see if I can make it a little brighter. There we go. I went ahead and turned my light on here. So as you can see here, we should be able to see it now. Yeah, there we go. There are two USB-C ports on the side here. These are USB 4.0 ports or Thunderbolt 4 ports, so they support both that technology, but basically they are USB-C. There is a Surface Connect port over on this side, right here. And on the bottom, we have the keyboard, Surface keyboard ports. Notice what you do not see is you do not see any USB-A or 3.5 millimeter ports for headphones. So everything has to be USB-C or Bluetooth at this point. USB-A is pretty much not put into devices really after maybe about a year or so ago. Everything's now is USB-C. The Surface Pro 9 with 5G has different types of ports. It has a nano SIM port in it, because obviously for cellular, or two USB-C 3.2 ports, so they do not support USB 4. Then it has the same Surface Connect port and Surface keyboard port. So cellular, if you have the cellular version of this, you can do a nano SIM or an eSIM. An eSIM is the electronic SIM card where you don't actually need a physical SIM card. Devices are moving away from physical SIM cards, which I absolutely love. Modern iPhones, modern Android phones don't have SIM cards anymore. So that's just the standard transition. So let's talk cameras for a minute here. So the cameras are up here. There's one here and another one right there. I know they're very hard to see, but they are there. So the front camera is the Windows Hello face authentication camera. That's only front facing. The other front facing camera does 1080p full HD video. So you will not get 4K out of the front camera. The rear facing camera, which is right on the back here in the center, is a 10 megapixel rear facing autofocus camera that supports 1080p HD and 4K video. Now it doesn't say which 4K video is that, if that's 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. I'm not sure, it doesn't actually specify there. But for me, that really doesn't matter so much. I don't generally take high-end videos with my Microsoft Surface devices. They're more for quick pictures, videos of things that need really like that. The Surface Pro 9 with 5G has a couple different things to it. It has a Windows Hello face authentication camera in the front. The front facing camera is also 1080p full HD video. The rear is 10 megapixels rear facing autofocus with 1080p HD 4K video. And then Windows Studio effects with eye contact, portrait, background blur, and automatic framing. So it has a little bit more brains to it with the cellular version. Accessories. So you can get different accessories for the Surfaces. So the Surface Pro 9 non-cellular supports the Surface Slim Pen 2, which I have. I'll show you one. Integrated storage and wireless charging for the Surface Pen 2 with the Surface Pro Signature keyboard, which I'm going to get one of those. It supports tactile signals with the Surface Slim Pen, so basically touch, adaptive learning, stuff like that. Supports the MPP, which is Microsoft's pen protocol. Apple has their own pen protocol, so does Android. It's really just Microsoft's version of it. The cellular version basically is the same exact thing. I don't know if there's any differences. Keyboard compatibility, super important. Surface Pro Signature keyboards, Surface Pro keyboards, Surface Pro X Signature keyboard, and Surface Pro X keyboards. So Surface Pro 10 keyboards can work with 9. You can't go backwards. So microphones, audio here, dual far field studio mics. So basically there's dual microphones, 2-watt stereo speakers, which is nice. So you can see the here and here. I know it's hard to see, there and there. And then on the back, I'll spin it around here, there is one right there. So you notice I'm using my gloves because it's easier to manipulate and not get the screen all scuffed up. The cellular version is the same. Battery capacities, super important for the life of the device, how long it lasts. Battery capacity in a nominal use, 47.7 watt hours. Battery capacity minimum, 46.5 watt hours. So the Surface Pro 9 with 5G is exactly the same. Accessibilities, you can get these with accessibility options. So if you have limited movement, stuff like that, they're compatible with the Surface adaptive kits, Microsoft Adaptive Accessories, Windows accessibility features, so blinking, stuff like that can actually be used to create input on the device. Sensors, this is super important. Accelerometer, gyroscope, magnetometer, ambient color sensor. So ambient color sensor being the screen, it knows what your surroundings look like and it will adjust the brightness accordingly. Accelerometer is how fast you're moving. Gyroscope is how the device is oriented. And magnetometer detects magnetic fields, stuff like that. Other things that are important for the average user is Wi-Fi, of course. So this device supports Wi-Fi 6E and 5, of course. Wi-Fi 6E being one of the newer Wi-Fi standards. So right now in 2024, Wi-Fi 6E is starting to become the rage. You're starting to hear about Wi-Fi 7. This device supports Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.1 technology. So layman's terms, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. The cellular version is a little bit different. It supports Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.1, but it also has location sensing. So it has GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, and Bedeu support. That's super important if you're using this device in a cellular-based, out-in-the-world fashion. So if you were in the middle of nowhere, you can still determine your location using GPS. Again, has nano SIM and eSIM support and supports 5G, the cellular version. The casing on this is aluminum. It's all aluminum. Colors come in platinum, graphite, sapphire, and forest. I got graphite just because that's what I like. Physical buttons, the only physical buttons you see are the volume, which is here, and the power, which is here. And the Surface Pro 9 with 5G is the same. The casing is aluminum. The colors is only platinum, and the physical buttons are volume and power. Microsoft provides a 1-year limited hardware warranty with the Microsoft Surface device. Replaceable components. Some of it can be replaced, some of it can't. So things that can be replaced: display, battery, Surface Connect port on the side here, thermal module for the 5G only, thermal module with the fan, this one, cameras, speakers, buttons, camera deck, that's where the camera sits in, Wi-Fi deck, that's what the Wi-Fi card sits in, the back cover, the removable SSD, the removable SSD door, which I'll show you where that is here. That is going to be underneath the stand here, right there. Sorry, I know it's a little hard to see, but you can see it there. The kickstand, which is this, and the motherboard, which is inside. So as you can see here, we've got the standard Microsoft Surface kickstand. So we can set that down there. And we'll go ahead and turn it away so that you're not being blinded by my light. The Surface Pro 9 meets Energy Star requirements, both devices. So that's basically the specs of the Surface Pro 9. I am super excited to use this in my daily operations, both professionally and personally. Again, I'm replacing a Microsoft Surface Pro 7, so I am accustomed to the overall design. Now, let me go ahead here and show you the Microsoft Surface Pen. This is the Microsoft Surface Slim Pen 2. Let's see if I can get this open here without having to cut it. Should be able to. Nice. So it says, get started. Charge for 1 second. Ready to write. That's impressive. So underneath here, we've got some information about, a lot of information, about the Microsoft Surface Pen, telling you how to pair it, how to charge it, and it's all pretty straightforward. Leave that off to the side here. Some more information, regulatory information, what comes with all electronic devices. Here is the Surface Pen Slim, which is very different looking than the last one I had. It's very slim. I see why they call it the Slim. I actually like that a lot. It's very slim, not bulky like the last one. So that's pretty cool. So that's going to be, you know, your writing stylus for the Microsoft Surface here. We'll just go ahead and move that over, put that right there. And now I've also got what everybody needs, a case. This is a Targus protected case for the Surface Pro 9 and 10. So again, they make the 9 and 10 frame is exactly the same. So it makes sense that the case would be the same size. So I'll show you here how to install the case. It is very easy to do. So here is the case. We can see here it is. It comes with a thing on the side here to hold the surface in while the case is on, so that the surface does not fall forward or out when you are carrying, and it even includes a little lanyard. So we'll put that off to the side here and take out the styrofoam core there, keep it from bending. So as you can see, this is a good quality, sturdy plastic here. It's made by Targus. They're a good brand of case makers. On the back here, we can see it has a spot for holding on. So you would hold it like this, so you can see your device like that. And it's got a kickstand. So you would not use the kickstand on the Surface. You would use this one now. So let's go ahead and install this case on the Microsoft Surface. Or I guess it technically should be install the Microsoft Surface in the case. So it's very easy to do. Just put the case down on the ground, on the foot table, get this part around, and set the case down just like that. So as you can see, the case wraps all the way around the edges nicely. On the back here, you've got it nice and protected. You've got the camera and the microphone port. And on the front, it is slim fitting all around, leaving room for the keyboard display on the bottom and the Surface holder. The keyboard includes a holder for the pen. So let's go ahead here and try out the stand. So we put that Surface down there. As you can see, it's standing up just like you'd expect. Bring it around here. You can adjust the back nicely so that it leans down as low as you want. I typically leave this on my desk like this, so I have my keyboard and I'm working away. So this is awesome. We got it all set up here. And to complete the stuff here, I'll just show you how to connect the power supply real quick, which is very easy to do. Microsoft, I don't know what the deal is with these power supplies here. They're a little on the strange side, but that's the design they choose. So as you can see here, you bring it to the side. There is the Surface port. You just put the power supply in just like that, and then it sits. So then your cable hangs down and it charges. Now I don't believe you can charge these through the USB-C port, and you need to use this power supply because it needs to send enough power to power the device and charge the battery. So that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed this video as we unboxed and took a look at the Microsoft Surface Pro 9. As always, if anyone has any questions or comments or needs help with any of their Microsoft devices, please drop a comment down below and I will do my best to help you out. Please click that like button and subscribe to Tech Gamers World. I'm always going to have new and exciting content coming soon. Thanks a lot, everybody, and I will see you around. Have a great one.